some questions from the Boom team, me in particular. The first being, as you guys start every episode, when did you first know you wanted to be a biomechanist?
We always joke in my family that I kind of fell in between my parents. My dad's a software engineer, my mom's a nurse, and I was interested in engineering. I was lucky enough to go to an engineering camp in middle school and high school, and I felt like biomedical engineering felt like the most people-oriented, or where I could actually work with people the most, and it kind of fell in between what my parents were doing. So, and I always just loved it. Like, I feel like as soon as engineering was suggested to me, I was just like, this is it. I also grew up with my grandma who had a prosthetic arm, and I got to like watch the evolution of that, which was really amazing to see it from just like the rigid plastic arm that she had to a hook to, a moving hook to then eventually an arm with some electrodes that could move a little bit. And to me, like, seeing the difference that made in her life was really inspiring and exciting. And yeah, definitely. I thought I was going to work in prosthetic design when I started biomedical engineering, and my path has changed since then, but it definitely was inspiring to get started in the field.
I love that story. Every time I hear it, like, it gives me shivers. Like, and your grandma just sounds like a badass lady.
She certainly was.
I thought that was just going to be bad, and I was like, whoa.
Your grandma, I think she paused because she didn't know whether to say badass. Bad lady.
She was a bad one.
She was a bad lady. I'll tell you what.
The person knows me well.
I was like, you can do it. Anyway.
Hannah, would you care to answer when you first knew you wanted to become a biomechanist?
Yeah, I love this question. And I think every time someone else answers it, I kind of think about what was my path to biomechanics. And like most of our guests, I think it was a little bit circuitous. I started as a biomechanist. I just said, like, I had a love for neuroscience toward the end of my undergrad. And then I applied to bioengineering graduate schools because I like this sort of like engineering approach to bio problems, thinking that that was a lot more tangible. You got to see, got to impact people within, this century versus like some of the work that's amazing work that is done in biochemistry, but feels a little bit, the work I was doing specifically felt like it had a longer time scale for having impact. So, and I love working with people. So anyway, I applied to bioengineering programs, and I remember people asking me like, oh, what is bioengineering? And I was like, oh, it's like, prosthetics and stuff, but that's not what I'm going to do. And then, coming here, I had friends that were interested in Scott's lab, and I was interested in Scott's lab from a neuro perspective and less a biomechanics perspective. So I started coming to lab meetings, and kind of serendipitously, I would say, found biomechanics, or it found me. And I ended up loving the people. It was really all about the people at the end of the day for me, and loved the scientists that I was meeting, loved the people and patients that I was getting to interact with through the biomechanics and neuroscience communities.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what made me stay.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like when I first got exposed to biomechanics research with Dr. Brian Davis, who came to the University of Akron kind of halfway through my undergrad, like, without him, I definitely wouldn't be here. And he's the reason I started research in the first place, and then introduced me to like conferences and the International Society of Biomechanics. And like, that's when I feel like going to my first conference was and meeting everyone and everyone being so excited and all the cool things going on. I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be.
Yeah. And that, you bring up a good point. Like, I'd like to give a shout out to my neuroscience professor in undergrad, Professor Joe Bordeaux, who I think it's so important to have people that support you and kind of see when you're not happy and try to figure out how to change your course and do what's right for you. So I really appreciated him. And I didn't even know what bioengineering, really was.